So we're into the first few weeks of 2016, the new trading year. I've been looking over my results from 2015 and I want to show you my best trade I made of the last year. So it's a 7R trade, just over 7R. That's in terms of risk to reward. I risked 1R, but I actually profited over 7 times that. So yeah, best one of the year. It came from a trend following system that I use for the major FOREX pairs. Ever such a simple system. So I've actually done a little screen presentation. Go over to the computer, I can show you that. I actually took the trade, or opened the trade, on the 31st of December, so on New Year's Eve. And it was actually open for nearly 3 weeks. So it's not strictly 2015, but I class it as 2015 because I opened it in 2015. So that's going to go down as best trade for last year, and hopefully this year will be even better. It was a fairly typical trade for this trend following system that I use. It's obviously the best. They're not all that good. They're normally 2, 3, 4 times the risk with that sort of a system. Generally, I'll get in them. I can be out the same day if the pair isn't moving exactly how I want it to be. Then I cut out straight away. Quite often, it's less than a full 1R loss. But if things start working well, starts moving in the right direction, then I can be in them up to some 5, 6 weeks sometimes. Yeah, this one, 3 weeks. So we're going to have a look at it, see where I entered, where I got out. I actually got in the trade a few days earlier and it didn't work out, so I got out straight away, but I got a chance to re-enter, so I went back into it. So it's nothing too exciting. Those of you who know me, I'm all about consistency. I have systems for the FX indices that just churn out reliable, consistent results, little bits of profit all the time, month in, month out, year in, year out. I'm not trying to wage all my money on one trade and hope that I'm going to become rich overnight. That's not what I'm about. So yeah, we'll have a look at it. Pretty much a typical one of my trades, and we go over the computer now and I'll show you exactly how it worked. Here's the daily chart of the pound versus the dollar, and I want to show you exactly where I got into this trade, where I put my stop loss, and of course where I took my profit. So the furthest right hand bar on this chart is the 30th of December 2015, so last year. Now on this day there was a setup that suggested to me if I put in an order to sell short the market, so I'm looking to bet on the market going to the downside. If a price level is hit to the downside, then I'll get in to short sell the market, and perhaps there's going to be a bit of a downtrend and a decent bit of profit to be had, which of course there was, because this was the best trade of the year. So in fact, I want to take you back a couple of days earlier, because I tried to get into this trade back on the 22nd of December as well. So on the day I'm hovering over now, on the 21st, there was a setup similar that suggested if prices broke down past a certain level, I wanted to get in on that downtrend. And in fact, the next day on the 22nd here, this big down move, that's where I got in. Unfortunately, a couple of days later, a couple of strong days, I got stopped out for a very small loss. It was actually 0.7R loss, so pretty small, and just kept checking the charts until a few days later the setup was there again, so I took it. So if I scroll forward to the next day, this is the 31st of December. This is actually where prices broke down again, and I got into the trade short. It happened to be New Year's Eve, last day of the year, and happens to be the start of the best trade of the year. So there we go. Got in here short. I'll scroll forward even more so you can see exactly how the trade worked out. And this takes us right up until the most recent bar, which happened to be Friday's on the 22nd of Jan. This is where I exited. So as you can see, I entered on the bar that I've highlighted there, and the market just went down, down, down. Never really looked back until the last few days of strength, where I had my exit signal that for the time being the trend is over, take profits. What I'll do is I'll put a couple of horizontal lines on the chart, give you an idea of why this was one of our best trades, or the best trade I had this year. So I'm going to put lines at certain levels. This one's not quite right. So yeah, they're a little bit rough. For some reason they were jumping to certain price levels. So those two horizontal lines on this bar here that I'm hovering over on the 31st of December, when prices broke down beyond this line, so I used a stop sell order, I got in and sold short on that day. The upper line was where my stop loss was placed. Of course I always use stop losses which are predefined. So those two lines represent the amount of risk I had on for that trade. Now if I put on a third line at the level which was around about the closing level on Friday. So that third line represents where I exited the trade for the profit. Now it's not too hard to see that the risk on that trade was very small compared to the reward. That's what made it the best trade. It just so happened that the trade occurred on quite a narrow range day, so it allowed me to have quite a tight stop loss, and there was a decent move, so yeah, I got quite a lot of reward. So that was just over a 7R trade. What that means is, for those of you who risk a certain percentage of your account for every trade, you might be risking 1%, 2%, 5%. If you were risking 1% of your account and you'd have taken that trade, then that would have been over a 7% gain, and you can work it out if you were risking more as a percentage. So that's the trade really. For now, I had an exit strategy that said, for now the trend is over. Who knows? Another couple of days' time, prices may continue to go down, and I might get back in. But for now, really nice little trade. Best trade of the year. They're not all that good, but they really do make up for a decent part of profit for the year.